never on time.
He's right on time today, buddy.
It's a Mike Arney production, so you can bet that it's efficient. What's up, Predator?
Good morning.
Tony Stewart, ladies and gentlemen, on the phone. On time for once. My God, I can't believe you're on time.
I know. I would only do this for you. You know that.
I know. For you to get out of bed before 10 is, when I was talking to Mike, he's like, he's not going to get out of bed. I go, just ask him, please. He might do it for me. He might.
Let's just set the record straight here. I'm not even out of bed.
Oh, you're still in bed?
Wait.
Did you fly? Are you in North Carolina?
No, I'll be honest. I actually got to come home Sunday night. I went to the U.S. Nationals yesterday in Indianapolis and hung out with Tony Schumacher and Don Schumacher and all the guys in the U.S. Army Top Fuel Drag Race team. And then I got to come back down to Columbus. So I'm actually on my property this morning and got a chance to come down and see how my house is coming along that they're building. So
from Jody Effer, my boy Jody Effer.
Dude, how big's that house going to be?
He's got I don't know how big the house is going to be, but it's 500 acres in Brown County. Isn't that where it's at, Tony?
Yeah, it's 414 acres that I'm on, and it's, the house is being built right beside an 8-acre lake. So, man, I came home last night and probably saw, I would say, somewhere between 50 and 60 deer and heard a turkey in the evening right before dark. And so, man, that's my deal. That's my release. That's how I come home and relax. And you know, everybody in town here in Columbus is really, really good about, you know, knowing when I'm in town that I'm here to relax, and everybody has been real supportive of it.
Now, this is the first year because of Stewart Haas that you've spent as much time in the Carolinas because of the shop and all, because historically, you know, over the years, you'd do most of your time in Columbus, but it's kind of almost rare for you to get back home, isn't it?
Yeah, I think today is and I'm actually only going to be here till about noon today, but today I think is the 11th or 12th day that I've been home all year this year.
Man.
And this is really only a half day. I got home last night about 7 o'clock, and then, like I say, we'll leave about noon today. But, you know, just being able to come home for a couple hours and you know, see Jody and Teresa that take care of her property here. And like I say, we got a big log home project you know, going through right now, and getting a chance to come home and watch. They're in the fun stage right now where they're stacking all the logs, so it's actually taking shape and kind of get a feel for what the house is going to be like. So
Tony's building a big log home, Brent, a big, huge log home.
It sounds just like wonderful. Over 400 acres.
Now, are you gonna have the basement where we can do the mini bike races again, or are you gonna is that fun officially done now that you're a big time owner?
Oh no. That just means we can do that stuff and not get in trouble for doing it.
Back in the day when Tony would do risky stuff, Gibbsy was a little bit freaked out. JD would be like, "Oh, you can't run a 360 winged on Tuesday, and you can't do this and that," and Tony would have to sneak stuff. And then, of course, if Tony enters into a race, it always gets back to him, so he'd have to get himself out of trouble because it was part of his deal. But I mean, now you can. I'm getting all kinds of reports. Tony was racing a 360 here, and he flipped it, then he ended up Now, what happened there? Because somebody called me last week, said you're part of a 360 deal. You flipped it, and then you went back and won the deal. Is that true?
No. We went to Macon Speedway in Macon, Illinois, and that's a track that Kenny Schrader and Kenny Wallace and Bob Sargent and myself owned together. And we ran a midget race there. It's only a little 5th-mile track, but it is one of the coolest 5th-mile tracks that you will ever go to. And got upside down in the main about 25 laps into it, and it just blew the left rear tire off the rim and bent the steering rod. So he put me on the hook, brought me back. We put a tire on and went back out, and didn't win, but ended up finishing, I think, 14th on the deal.
Now, speaking of midgets, are you signed back up for the Chili Bowl this year? I got to think that's a buffoonery question because absolutely you wouldn't miss it for the world.
Well, the hard part is we're struggling with our midget program. We've been on a development program with Chevrolet, and this motor's got so much potential. We don't know exactly what we're going to be able to do next year. Obviously, with the cutbacks, you know, the Chili Bowl is a pretty expensive show to go, and I know that sounds kind of stupid for us to be worrying about that, but we're not sure exactly what we're going to do as far as open wheel programs for next year. We know we're going to have our World of Outlaw teams with Donnie Schatz and Craig Kinzer, but we're not exactly sure what USAC program's going to have.
No, we talk about Donnie Schatz a lot on the show, and I call him the Flying Half-Breed. That's his Bubba nickname, the Flying Half-Breed.
Yeah,
because the guy,
exactly.
there ain't nobody going to beat that guy, period. Nobody.
He's unconscious, man.
He is.
It's so much fun to watch Don, and you know, I've had cool drivers all my career that since I've had race teams, and had Danny Lasowski, who was a lot of fun, but you know, Donnie Schatz and I mean, we were like peas in a pod. I mean, we give each other a hard time nonstop, but the guy is just unreal when it comes to running with the World of Outlaws right now. It doesn't matter where he goes, he's fast every night.
I mean, he's stringing together wins like what the King did back in the 80s and 90s. And at the Knoxville Nationals, I guess he told somebody, hey, listen, it's a 40-lap race. I'm not going to worry about anything laps 1 through 30. And the last 10, I'll start worrying about it. And I guess he kind of hung back and stuff. And then at the last 10, indeed, did what he said.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Nationals was awesome, and it actually worked out in my favor. We, the race was the same weekend as our Cup race in Michigan this year, and so with it getting rained out on Saturday, we left Sunday after the race and flew to Knoxville. So I actually got to be there firsthand and watch it. And he was just real methodical the first 30 laps, and took care of his tires. And the last 10 laps, he let it stretch its legs and went out there and absolutely put a beating to him.
Now, what kind of motors are you guys running? Are you guys running? Everybody's running the Don Odd? Are you guys running the one out of the guy out of Ohio? I forget what's the guy out of Ohio that's got the hot motor right now.
We still run Kistler engines from Ohio with Craig's car, but Donnie, his relationship with Shaver in California, that's what we stick with on Don's car. So it's kind of weird. I mean, you don't see too many 2-car programs that our situation's different. We got two drivers, and instead of having the same chassis and same engines, we got 2 different chassis and 2 different engine packages. So it's just making sure that because you drove, and I know as a driver too. I mean, it's not what you think that each guy, both guys. Just because one's good doesn't mean that it's going to be good for the other guy. So you got to sit there and tailor the chassis and engines to what each guy likes.
Only a politician like Jimmy Carr would be able to keep that all together.
Yeah, no kidding. And he's good. I mean, the great thing about Jimmy is Jimmy's been with us since 2001 when we started the first Outlaw team with Wasowski, and basically we've kind of moved him up in the organization with all of our commitments with the Cup side now, and being down in Charlotte, like we mentioned earlier, it's taken my time away from the open wheel guys, and what we've done is moved Jimmy Carr to the competition director side, like we have with Bobby Hutchins down at the Cup shop, and so Jimmy's in charge of the entire open wheel program in Brownsburg, both the 2 World of Outlaw teams and all the USAC programs.
But I got to tell you, man, I haven't met Darian yet, Tony, because I haven't really been around that much of this year. But man, that guy's money, Tony. I swear to God. I listened to your in car, and he's obviously a protege of Knaus and Hendrick, and Darian Grubb is money. I'm telling you, he's money. Damn, he's money.
Yeah, I guarantee it. It's the great thing, and you've known me for a long time. You've seen Zippy and I still have a great relationship and had an awesome relationship working with each other. But the thing with Zippy and I that I think held us back a little bit was we were so much alike that if one of us got wound up a little bit, we cared so much about each other as brothers. That if I got wound up, he would get upset about it and it would bother him, and if he got wound up, it would bother me, and it would kind of take the focus downhill for the rest of the race. And we still were able to win 33 races and 2 championships over there. But this year working with Darian, it's nice just to have a different atmosphere. I mean, people are always scared of change, but I think this was a change that I needed. And like you mentioned, Darian he is so calm. I ran 25 races this year, and I don't think I've got wound up but once on the radio, and it wasn't about our car, it wasn't about him, or it was about somebody else on the racetrack. So
no, we heard it.
He just got that ability to keep me calm during the race and keep me focused. And I've learned more about my chassis this year than I've ever had before, and I think it's because he feeds me so much information about what we're doing that it keeps me excited about wanting to know what we're doing with our cars versus just I've always been in the train of mind and the thought of just focus on telling him what I need the car to do that it's not doing. And now Darian's kind of got me in that mode of being able to do that, but at the same time understanding why we're making some of the changes that we're making and knowing what's in my car, so I can be more helpful to trying to find solutions.
Now, the one thing we got talked about, Tony, about today is tomorrow, and it's on pay-per-view. It doesn't matter if you can't make it to Rosberg, Ohio, and I don't know if you can even buy a ticket. It's always sold out, and I don't know what your capacity is, Tony. You can't. I mean, you're not going to get a ticket, so really, you're only going to get it via pay-per-view, and I got to tell you, it's